Well, hello folks, and welcome to my video. On this video, I want to talk about the old school bodybuilding, old school muscle building, and I want to kind of touch base and uh, talk about talk about the time frame when the gyms were actual real bodybuilding gyms, as opposed to the current time. In our age, gyms became extremely commercialized, and they don't resemble anything like what they used to be, right? I mean, I remember my time when we go to gym. They were kind of small, stinky places, sweaty. It wasn't really even looking hygienic here, right? Mostly free weights and dumbbells, maybe some kind of rusty piece of like different kind of sets of weights and plates. Uh, People were just slamming the weights and clanging weights. Sometimes they were all grunting and even cursing. And anyone who's daring foot inside those gyms, were people who are aspired you know to catch a glimpse of this thing called muscle building, and actually really getting stronger and getting kind of built up and all that stuff. Well, today gym environment is completely and entirely commercialized. I did actually have a short gig as a data analyst once, a long time ago, at Lifetime Fitness, and I'm a current member of LA Fitness, which is now, unless it changed, the current standing of LA Fitness in the United States has the number one spot, and the Lifetime Fitness has the number two, which is to my surprise. Lifetime Fitness is a whole lot more like luxurious and all that, and providing all kinds of amenities and luxurious services and you name it. Uh, anyway, the way that you look at it, especially during my short gig at Lifetime Fitness, I remember having this conversation with the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer, and he was talking about their goals, and basically what I was going to do was going to help them kind of prepare some kind of a performance reporting tool using my data analytical skills. And he was talking about they were extremely aggressive. They were talking about opening gym every month, and when they talk about open, I mean they always talk about huge spaces. And on the average, and I actually calculated that, like the LA Fitness now, they currently have give and take close to, maybe sometimes more than 1,000 members per club. I'm sorry, 10,000. I said it wrong. 10,000 members per club. Some clubs are smaller in scale, some clubs are bigger. Like the one I usually go every day is kind of like one of those, like 10,000 plus members. So it became completely the business model of the current gym is 100% just like any other business, fully profit oriented, aggressive growth based business. Business, capitalistic endeavor, nothing else, nothing less, nothing more, nothing different. And they learned that, in our current age, that to be able to expand their client base, because they want everybody, right? Anyone and everyone who wants to do something for them, which is a great thing. Anybody being concerned with their health and going and signing up for a gym. I'm not gonna say bodybuilding, for a gym, and doing something, anything like age appropriate, whatever, or whatever their condition is, something appropriate for their age, physical condition, gender, you name it, or whatever their goals. That's awesome. That's great. But what they realized was, if you look at the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years, the gym business changed a whole lot. I mean, a lot, that they moved away a lot. Today, they became completely unrecognizable if you compare to 50 years ago. They realized that if they serve the hardcore bodybuilding community, or weightlifting community, or powerlifting kind of community, they're not going to be able to expand their business. They're going to basically get stuck in an extremely small niche, which is almost kind of very marginal if you look at the society. And then they said, okay, we're gonna change our business model, and we're gonna embrace everybody, anybody, everybody, and their dogs, right? So now when you go to gym, like the one I go every day, what I see is old, young, in good shape, not in good shape, in horrible shape, you name it. They have all kinds of programs, right? They offer spin classes, they offer aerobic classes, they offer some kind of not swim classes, but water aerobics. That's what I was trying to say. They have leagues, basketball, volleyball, racquetball leagues, you name it. They have all kinds of programs to be able to attract people to come and enjoy their facilities and become a member. Again, that's an awesome idea. Expanding, kind of trying to deliver fitness-oriented, services to the society to improve the people's health is awesome. But during that process, as I'm trying to get back to you, the actual original subject matter of this recording is old school bodybuilding, and it's the whole gym business started like that, bodybuilding, and then it became something entirely different. And if any one of you, I believe any one of you is who's going to gym routinely and regularly, and who's been in this area who's kind of serious about improving his or her overall strength and musculature, is aware that when you go to gym, there are two main sections, right? The weight section, and that's also two subsections to it: the free weights, the machines, and then cardio equipment, right? The ellipticals, the treadmills, stationary bikes, spin bikes, you name it. And if you just go to gym and observe those people, the ones spending a lot of time, like when you go there for months, over even years, you start kind of seeing a trend that the people kind of stick to. You're seeing the same kind of or similar kind of people. A lot of times, the same guys or ladies who are going and spending time in the weight room area, particularly the free weights. And a lot of times, of course, they're a combination of free weights and machines versus the cardio area. Who do you think look fitter? All that cardio equipment, any take any time, take observations, take a statistical research, and take a stock, take pictures or whatever, do some recording. Look at the people spending time on cardio equipment, compare them their overall conditioning with the ones spending time on the with the free weights. You're gonna see quite a bit of difference in their overall conditions and physical conditions and fitness levels and appearance, musculature, and all that stuff. That should actually tell people something. So I kind of leave this up to you to what I'm get with that. You know what I mean, right? We're just having this is I'm trying to make this as conversational as possible. It's not like anything. I prepared the material. I'm trying to stick to it and whatever, or bring in some boring statistics and numbers, tables, and nothing like that. It's just kind of conversational manner. So this is kind of a trend, and if you just look at the core people who are utilizing the weights, the free weights, or machines, the cable stack equipment like leg presses, the cable machines and everything. In doing that, seriously, there are only a handful of people. Out of 10,000 members, I bet you anything, it's less than 5%. That's my observation. These kind of people. That's why the business model has changed drastically to make it a complete business model which can produce a lot of profit. Why? Well, if less than 5% of people are like this, and if they were serving those people and denying the service, the rest of 95+% people, how would they make money? So they have to come up with these ideas, the aerobic classes, one-on-one training opportunities, providing, depending on what your fitness goals are. Maybe you're there on doctor's prescription. Maybe you're there, you had a surgery, and you need to go through some kind of it looks like a physical therapy. Of course, the people who can help these kind of members have to be certified. They have to have specialty certification to be able to help people. Kind physical therapy like sessions to improve their conditions, overall recovery process, to speed up the recovery process following their surgery. Those are all great and awesome things. Don't take me wrong. I'm not criticizing that. All I'm trying to do is how much it changed, and if we compare this back to old school, how incredibly different. It's like two completely different worlds. It's like kind of like a parallel universes. So in a way, sometimes when I look at it, I kind of think of the back in the day again, like I said, when the gyms were a whole lot smaller, a lot more primitive than how it was today, how it is today. I mean, in bare minimum equipment, maybe. I mean, we didn't have any of those fancy equipment, right? And people were doing basically trying to make do with whatever they have. For instance, today I was just talking with a friend of mine. Uh, he more like he's approaching to the subject matter from like a physical therapy perspective, and he has some kind of leg condition, and because he had horrible lower back problem due to several surgeries he had, and we were talking about it, and I sent him pictures of all the leg machines that I'm using in my gym, and he was thinking about buying some kind of a leg extension machine or a leg press machine, something like that for his home. And he wanted to discuss that option with me. So I sent him pictures. And easily we have more than 12, more than a dozen different types of leg machines today. And back in the day, there wasn't even a machine. There was only maybe something resembling that. I would say I wouldn't call it anything like that. I mean, if you notice the way they manufacture those equipment today, they use software, they use the professional opinion and knowledge of those people who know how the body works perfectly, the muscular, the mechanics of the body, the muscle and bone, skeleton mechanics, and kinesiology experts. They're combining their knowledge, bringing in IT people, software designers, trying to design a machine that would hit the muscle in the most efficient manner, whatever that muscle group that will be. I mean, it could be the quadricep, it could be bicep, it could be shoulder, right? That's how they design currently those machines. Again, back in the day, again, 30 years ago, even, yeah, 25, 30 years ago, they were designing machines kind of like, kind of a guesswork. Okay, this is the good right angle it looks like. This is how we're working out. Okay, let's build this leg press machine, for instance. So, and even that was advanced for its time. Like I said, the only thing that we could do for legs was at the fanciest thing was leg curl or leg extension device. I wouldn't call it machine, device. How effective it was, I say anybody's guess, right? So yeah, I mean this is how it was, and but look at this. We were talking about 1930s and 40s and 50s, which is considered the silver era of bodybuilding. And then let's start with the 1950s and 60s, especially 1965 when the Mr. Olympia competitions officially started with under the leadership of Joe Weider and Ben Weider. And the first Mr. Olympia was Larry Scott. We still use concepts from those days. For instance, I still call it Scott bench. Today people call it just a bicep curl bench or names like that. I don't see a lot of people calling that as Scott bench. I still call it Scott bench because it was the invention of Larry Scott. Larry Scott, when he got his first Mr. Olympia title in 1965 and then 1966, he had some limitations of his physique, but he overcame those limitations through incredible hard work and especially building incredible arms and bicep and tricep combination. And that was his invention, the Scott. That's why they call it Scott bench, right? So we basically learned a lot from those guys, and their legacy is still continuing, but they basically created lots of different variations on it with the new technology, right? With new concepts. What I was trying to say was this: like during the 50s and 60s, if you look at those pictures, right, black and white pictures, those old days, mostly the pictures you're gonna see is a guy is doing the dumbbell work, like Leroy Colbert. And you remember the Colbert style curls by laying down on the bench and doing barbell curls while you're laying down to be able to hit the biceps in the most effective and efficient manner. That or incline dumbbell presses. A lot of people might look at today the pictures of Steve Reeves from 1950s. Uh, he was an actor, right? He played in movies like he was an all Hollywood actor, Hollywood star. He played in Hercules movies and famous, and he was an incredibly good-looking guy, right? He was a really good-looking guy. And when you look at his pictures, you might see, well, and compared to current bodybuilders, he's like a kind of a young athletic kid. I mean, nothing more than that. Well, don't brush him off. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Steve Reeves, during the 1950s, when he was doing his incline uh, dumbbell curls, either alternate dumbbell curls, or at the same time he was doing, I think he was mostly doing alternate dumbbell curls on the incline bench. And you know the weight that he was using? It was 75 pounds dumbbells that Steve Reeves was using when he was doing incline dumbbell curls. Did I say press or something? I'm sorry. Apologize. When he was doing his incline dumbbell curls, he was using 75 pounds. Please go to next time gym and grab a 75-pound dumbbell and try to do it on an incline bench. Approximately the angle should be um, close to 45 degrees, okay? Close to 45 degrees. Try to do it to be able to get a good feel of how strong he was. And when you look at his pictures, I know a lot of people might think, oh, look at this guy, man. He looks like a, cute buddy, okay? Nothing more than that. He was incredibly strong. I mean, that's what I'm trying to get. The point here is those old school bodybuilders. That's why I started with kind of Steve Reeves. I think it's a good time frame, 1950s. I'm not going to go all the way back to the end of 19th century, the Eugene Sandow. Although Eugene Sandow, by today's standards, right, he looks like maybe his body is almost like not beginner, but kind of intermediate. But Eugene Sandow was putting strength shows that would envy a lot of so-called strong guys today at his body weight. And yeah, when you talk of strongman today, strongman competitions, you're talking about Brian Shaw, you're talking about Hafter, you're talking about Eddie Hall, right? Those guys who are themselves weighing how much? 350 to 400 pounds? Ridiculous weights, right? Eugene Sandow. He was at the most weighing less than 200 pounds. And he was putting strength shows that would envy those guys. Just go back those times and look at this kind of the feat of strength that they were displaying on those silly old black and white kind of yellowish pictures, Evan. You remember the guy like they prepared him as set up a kind of platform, and there was a car on that platform, and he was under that, and he was able to hold the entire car. He was not squatting. He was holding it like a bridge. I mean, they were putting, or another picture similar to that, there was, I don't remember the number. I didn't count the number of people on that similar platform, but I don't know, 10 people, 20 people, I don't know. I didn't count. Incredible amount of people. That was an incredible feat of strength those guys were putting. It was a different time. They didn't have any of that, fancy equipment, particularly chemicals. Unfortunately, I have to say this unfortunately, today's bodybuilding competitions, especially high levels, open bodybuilding I'm talking about, not natural bodybuilding, is a function of, along with, I'm not going to belittle those guys, along with the right genes, a lot of dedication, and a lot of training, a lot of motivation, but a lot of chemicals as well, unfortunately, which is costing, which is not the subject matter of this video. Uh, you know, we're all witnessing all the number of bodybuilders currently losing their lives, but that's a separate subject. I'm not going to touch base that. What I was trying to talk about was some kind of maybe you can call it, nostalgia. Uh, Maybe I'm missing good old days. Is that what it is? You can call that. But I also want to mention that there was a lot of things that we are today using from the good old days called old school bodybuilding, especially when it comes to mass and strength. Because of the lack of chemicals, nothing comparable today. I mean, nothing comparable. The best they knew, I think, was, and that was, they started manufacturing like protein powders, very primitive ways. Joe Weider started kind of expanding his business, like protein powders and stuff. 1960s, you're talking about, in maybe before 50s, 40s. That was extremely primitive form, and nothing like today. The growth hormones and TRT, testosterone replacement therapies, all kinds of synthetic steroids, right? D-balls and Tren, all those NORs, none of them were available. None of them. So, what is it that they left with? They were left with motivation, whatever they can eat, milk, eggs, meat, cheese for protein source, maybe some protein powder. That's it. And hard work and hard work and hard work. Whenever I think of, the old school bodybuilders, even going before Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'm going before, because Arnold started a new age in bodybuilding, starting his Olympia competitions. His first Olympia was 1970, and from 1970 to 1975, 6 years back to back to back, Arnold Schwarzenegger got Mr. Olympia title. And then his 7th Olympia title, 1980, which was a very, very controversial title. Again, that's not what I'm talking about. But I'm going before Arnold's time, the true old school. That is 40s, 50s, and 60s. One bench, it wasn't even quality bench. Maybe it was even wobbling. A pair of dumbbells and barbell. Maybe a curly bar. That's it. Arnold came up with this bicep blaster. I have one. I love that. Sometimes I use it. That he was using. You remember that famous picture? The bicep blaster hanging from his neck and using his curly bar and doing barbell curls. Blessing his biceps. Or Bill Pearl. Basically, he was a true old school bodybuilder. Barbell and pair of dumbbells. Some set of them. And there you go. That was Bill Pearl. He was truly an awesomely strong guy. And one commonality, one common denominator among all these old school bodybuilders was amount of dedication, motivation, dedication, and the total length of time that they dedicated. That's measured not in years, but decades. They put decades into this. They didn't care about getting results like a lot of youngsters starting today, especially those who are attached to their smartphones and Instagram videos of people who are putting their pictures in their videos, and they want to get the results yesterday, and they start today. This is the kind of mindset, unfortunately, came into being, especially capturing now the today's youth. And I'm seeing in the gym sometimes young kids, like as young as 15 years old, 16 years old, and they're doing a little bit of a barbell curl, maybe dumbbell curl, and then boom, they're going and posing on the mirror, trying to see difference. I don't know what they're looking at it. When they move their arms, I think they're flexing their muscles to see something. But I can tell you this: they're expecting something within a week, within a month. Oh, they cannot even wait a year. This is how horrible the current situation is now. With everything I just mentioned, that commercialization of gym business, the fitness business. And in fact, if you look at today's in the United States, the current annual market capitalization of the fitness industry, that is including everything. That is the gyms, the clubs, equipment sale, and supplementation, club membership, all those things. If you look at it, we're talking about I don't have the most current, most recent number, but I tell you what, it can be easily measured in 300 billion plus dollar business. Maybe now reaching a half trillion. I don't know. I don't want to. I don't have the most recent numbers, but easily 300 billion plus dollars. And that's all those things that I combined, I mentioned. And in fact, at one point I was curious. I'll look into the total gyms, number of gyms in operation, and each gym, for instance, mine, LA Fitness, how many clubs they have, how many total members they have, and I came up with this number. I couldn't believe the total number I came up with. 53 million members in the United States at any given time, give and take. And then when I was calculating it was I came up with 53 million people total gym membership. That's everybody. Everybody. And the other funny thing is, and if you look at it, let's say you're going to your gym, like mine, LA Fitness in Apple Valley, Minnesota. I live in Minnesota, Apple Valley, Minnesota. I go to gym in Apple Valley, LA Fitness, and I know that they have more than 10,000 members, and it's a pretty crowded place anytime I go. And I don't know exactly at any given time how many people they have, but I'm gonna venture to say, let's say, 100 plus people. Okay, it's a large place, maybe 150. I'm just trying to be conservative. I don't want to blow up the numbers. But imagine 10,000 members. They know that none of them. It's impossible for everybody to go there at the same time, right? Forget about everybody. It's impossible for any more than 500 people to be in the gym at the same time. They know that very well. I mean, they know their statistics. Again, from my work for LA Fitness years back, I'm sorry, it was the Lifetime Fitness, years back, that they know at any given day, at any given time, the percentage of the utilization, how many people are coming to utilize the facilities, what is the total membership, percentage of those people utilizing the place, the gym, in compared to the total number of member population. So they know all those things. And it's just simply amazing how actually, in a way, it is 53 million people, but actual utilization is a whole different story. And the other funny thing is, and I couldn't help myself to sit down and think about it, was this. In the United States, the gym culture and actually fitness industry, I don't want to say gym culture only, I don't want to restrict this to gyms alone only, the whole entire fitness industry is by far the biggest in the world, and there is no second runner-up. I mean, it's not comparable with any other place. Yet, and on top of that, not only the fitness industry and gyms and stuff, the commercial gyms, all the colleges and universities and high schools. I did work out for 6 months at a high school gym 25 years ago. It was one of my best times because I had a chance to work with actual Olympic-style weightlifters, and I learned a lot from those guys. So basically, high school gyms, college gyms, universities gyms, and many other places, many other professional places, many other companies offer those kinds of things. So if you look at the total equipment in this country, I mean, the entire population has an access, right? Should have an access. There should not be an obesity. There should not be obesity problem. But, American population is very sedentary still, and obesity is a huge problem, right? It's just funny. When you look at the fitness industry, we're talking about getting close to $500 billion a year, and you're talking about obesity. Most obese people in the world are in the United States. That's incredible contradiction that sometimes I'm having difficulty to wrap my brain around to make sense out of that. I saw a picture once. It was showing a picture. That picture was from a beach. Just, I don't remember where. I mean, I don't know. Somewhere, maybe California. I don't know. A beach full of people, and the camera was able to capture a lot of them. And you can see the picture, the write up. What that picture was saying this. Now, pay attention to this picture. This is from 80s, early 80s, taken from beach. And how many people you're seeing here really overweight or obese? And I hardly could find. I mean, I couldn't find any. Some people were a little more, a little chubbier. That's normal, and some a little skinny, or whatever. They were all just normal folks. I mean, people. They just took that picture, just regular people having fun on the beach. And then a similar picture. Current age, 2020s. Again, it doesn't have the same beach, but it's a similar picture. And it was like a day and night in terms of, overweight or obese and all that stuff. So you're seeing this incredible expansion of business, explosion of fitness industry in terms of dollars. We're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars every year. People are spending money. All these huge gyms, each one of them has 10,000 plus people members, and we're still seeing. Look at the contrast between those two pictures. That's also another issue. Anyway, I was kind of going off the tangent. I just want to get back to the main topic: old school bodybuilders. Why am I talking about this? Why am I talking about old school bodybuilders? It's not only for nostalgia. They achieved a lot of results. If you look at those guys, like Bill Pearl, like Reg Park, who was actually Arnold's idol. Arnold was like, he couldn't believe he was talking to Reg Park when he first came to this country. He was 20 years old. And when the first time he met, there's pictures of him. He met with Reg Park. If you just look at the picture, Arnold's face, he's like a 15-year-old guy. He was 20 years old, but he's like, like a young kid. He couldn't believe he was talking to his idol. That's how he was looking. And he says that. He still says that. He doesn't hide it. I mean, it's there. It's a reality. So those guys, Reg Park, Vince Gironda, Bill Pearl, Larry Scott, Clarence Ross, a little later, Boyer Cole. You remember those guys? Dave Draper? You remember Dave Draper? The Gold Eagle? No, Gold Eagle is Tom Platz. They call Dave, both are very blonde guys. That's why they called Tom Platz was very blonde. They call him Golden Eagle. Dave Draper was something else. I forgot how they called it. He had a nickname. Ken Waller, you remember him? These are the Arnold's time. Robbie Robinson, incredible aesthetic and shape. Frank Zane, the master of symmetry, right, and aesthetics. Those years, they were basically given points for symmetry, proportions, and size, and definition, obviously. In fact, they called it 5 S's of bodybuilding that time. Now it's gone out of window. They give points, unfortunately, to extreme size. I'm saying unfortunately because the current level of the size of the advanced bodybuilders are achieved through mostly. I hate to say that because I have a lot of respect to hard work and motivation, dedication, and their genetics. They're good guys, but they have to pump a lot of juice. They have to get a lot of gear. They are on gear. They're on all kinds of high levels of steroids for years and years, and it's killing the sport. It's killing the image of the sport. It made it almost freak thing. Not almost, I think, in the eyes of a lot of people, it's a goddamn freak thing. It's a sick thing, almost. In fact, Arnold Schwarzenegger made comments. He was calling them disgusting because they have those huge bellies. At the body fat level, 3 to 5%, it's unbelievable to have belly sticking out like 6 months pregnant. The reason why those bellies are sticking out is not doing anything with obviously fat. They have less than 5%, less than 3% of body fat. The reason why those midsections are sticking out is simply because all that growth hormone, all those chemicals enlarging not only their muscles but enlarging all those internal organs like kidneys and livers, and everything is enlarging. It's pushing up, pushing out. That's why they look like on stage with less than 3% body fat level, they look like the 6 months pregnant woman. That's what Arnold Schwarzenegger was calling disgusting. The incredible size game started with Ronnie Coleman, and before that actually started with Dorian Yates in the early 90s, right from England, 6 times Mr. Olympia, and then picked up by Ronnie Coleman up to kind of a couple notches higher, the next level. It came to the point that they start falling on the stage again. I couldn't help. I'm sorry. That's not what I intend to talk about. Let's go back to again old school bodybuilders. They achieved awesome results using simple basic equipment. A lot of creativity because they had to be creative, and a lot of incredibly hard work. They were killing themselves. If you just get curious and look at, for instance, Arnold's calf training, his calves were really not aligned with the rest of his body, and he had to obviously bring his calf muscle size and shape up to par to be able to get up on the Olympia stage. He had incredible amount of work for his calves only. What do they call now? Work less, grow more. Well, there is a point. I get it. I get it. I mean, I remember myself doing that. I was working out for years, 6 days and every day, 3 hours each time, 6 days a week, and I stopped growing, and then I kind of stopped doing that. I created a different kind of split system, and I was given 2 days per muscle group, and I reduced overall workouts to 4 days, and I start growing. I mean, there is a point. But the way Mike Menser, you remember Mike Menser's this heavy-duty principles, less work, more growth, and stuff like that. Well, it didn't work for a lot of people. Those guys, to me, that's a kind of joke, okay? I'm a Mike Menser. That's a great bodybuilder. I have a lot of respect. He had the perfect score in the history of the Mr. Olympia, although that was Mr. Universe when he won. He got the perfect 300 scores. That was a different kind of pointing because it was Mr. Olympia. Anyway, but he had the incredibly good bodybuilder. That's correct. But I can't help but saying that. I disagree 100% with that. I agree with high volume, high intensity combinations. Okay? Real hard work. High volume, high intensity. You just give it the best you can. That's what Arnold was doing. And again, he including himself, like Franco Colombo. He was an incredible strong guy. Tiny little guy, 5'5", 5 foot 5 inch, maybe 4. You know how strong he was? Before he picked up bodybuilding, he was doing boxing in Italy. He was from Sicily. I think he was from Sicily, Italy. He was doing boxing, and he almost killed somebody. He basically stopped boxing altogether. He said, I'm scared. I'm going to kill somebody. He was that strong. They told him not to box. He was that strong. And then he started lifting weights and met with Arnold. You know the story, right? Arnold and Franco were good friends. And Arnold taught him bodybuilding. And he taught Arnold how to be strong, to get stronger doing actual, those compound moves, deadlifts, bench press, and squats. And he was able to do deadlift at the body weight of 180 pounds. I think it was 700 pounds. That's an amazing feat. That's an amazing feat. And one other thing, speaking about deadlifts, and I was going to say this. Look at today's powerlifting competitions organized by IPF, International Powerlifting Federation. And look at the guys. I mean, I'm sorry to say that, but some of those guys were very, very unsightly. Let me put it this way. Awesome weights they're lifting on that lifts or squats, but very unsightly. Go back to the times like 1960s and 70s. Look at the powerlifting competitions then. Look at the guys competing in those competitions. They were they're not even comparable. They were in great shape. I don't know, something changed. I don't know what changed, but something looks very different and not in a good way. Anyway, so going back to good old school, old school bodybuilding, good old days. I think there is a lot to go back and study them and learn and understand before before labeling something. Hey, this is old school. This is probably not right. As if everything new is right. It's not always the case. That's what I was trying to say. Anyway, that was just a kind of conversational recording on old school bodybuilding. So I appreciate your time. I hope I see you in another video. Take care. Stay strong and stay safe and stay healthy.